Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Clements, and this is the Hesed Podcast, equipping your community for spiritual formation as we all hope to become more like Christ, allowing His Spirit to develop us into His functional body. Let's get started with week 1 of an 8-week series that will guide your community to learn how to cultivate joy and live into your true identity. We will begin with my own personal testimony of encountering Christ's love in my own life. When I was 17, I got serious about seeking God. Through a vision I had 1 year earlier, I knew He wanted me to be a missionary. This was wonderful news for me, but also confusing. How could I be a missionary if I didn't really like people? So I sought after God. I began reading His Word and spending significant time with Him. I will never understand why He chose me, but I will always be grateful. But the idea of knowing He had a future for me developed a hunger to know more. I asked Him to help me love people. I even remember asking Him to help me love Him more. Somehow, I knew that something was missing in me. Then one glorious day, I was sitting alone in a coffee shop reading my Bible, and all of a sudden, the heavens parted. In my mind's eye, I felt God shining down on me. I was overwhelmed. I couldn't truly receive this in public, so I packed up my things and drove home and got to my room, closed the door. Then I fell on my knees and I received. Thank God He kept pouring it out on me even though I couldn't take it in public. I must have stayed for a couple of hours in His glory. I kept sensing the words, I love you, I love you, I love you, over and over again. I didn't understand that I was unloved until the moment I discovered real love. That did it for me. I had discovered the pearl of great price that I would give everything to possess. I wanted everyone to be able to experience that moment like I had. That experience intensified my resolve to dedicate to the Father. He loved me. That was all I needed. I didn't know exactly at the time, but this was the Father attaching to me and me responding by attaching to Him. So let's talk a little bit about attachment. Loving attachment is what develops people into healthy adults. Attachment is defined as the affectional tie between infant and mother. This bond becomes internally representative of how the child will form relationships in the world. Attachment disorder is defined as a condition in which individuals have difficulty forming lasting relationships. A beautiful bond develops between the caretaker and the infant in the first few weeks of life. The caretaker becomes in tune to the baby's needs, and the baby's cry for help, when met correctly with eye contact, touch, smile, movement, and basic carbohydrates, leads to a trusting bonding. This basic trust is the beginning of the development of the conscience. Our very ability to develop conscience depends on our ability to connect with others. Humans were designed to be in communities of loving attachment. When parents look in loving approval at their children as they meet His needs, He will feel secure in His identity as their child, giving him a solid foundation for growing in good brain health and character development. I believe it is the same with our relationship with God. In Numbers 6:24-26, God advises Moses that the best way for a priest to bless a person is to say, "The Lord bless and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace." Jim Wilder, a self-proclaimed neurotheologian, explains that when God's face shines down on people, that moment is when one experiences true joy. That is what happened to me in my experience that I explained earlier. He explains that living in joy is essential for the brain to be in a place where it can grow and be truly human. Somehow, the visceral experience of knowing we are wholly known and loved is the only way to experience true joy. We can only grow a healthy brain when we are living a joy-filled life in a loving community, which starts with attaching to God and will in turn extend to attaching to other people. It is now time to connect with your people. Go to your group discussion section for directions on how to apply loving attachment in your life. Until next week on the Hesed Podcast.